Hello. It is wonderful to be here with you on this Monday morning. I'm Rose, and I'm the owner and director of the LifeForce Yoga Healing Institute. And today, our practice is all about going inwards. In fact, this week, we're doing a series of practices to connect with our inner radiance. Our inner radiance is that part of us that is always shining, that it is unsullied by life, by the constrictions of life. It's that part of us that speaks our truth. And I call it inner radiance because that's my experience, is that it is a radiant energy. But you may know it for yourself as God or Jesus or Hashem or the universe, or maybe nothing at all. Inner radiance is the language around that really speaks to me. Before we get started, please do me a favor. Make sure you subscribe. You can click on the bell to get notifications about all of our videos and when we're going live. Currently, we're adding videos every day, except for the weekends. So be breath. It is called bee breath because we make the sound of the black bee, the bumblebee, in our throats as we exhale. If you were to dive into the yogic texts, in particular the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, you will find this practice where it is done on the inhale as well as the exhale. The inhale is a little more stimulating. We want to focus on that super calm practice, the calm portion of the practice, which is on the exhale. So let's just simply start by getting the mouth and tongue placement down. If that is too complicated for you, then all you'll simply do during the practice is hum. So let's start by making the sound of a bee. Bzzz. So you're noticing how the mouth vibrates with that sound. This time, even though it won't sound so much like a bee anymore, close the lips and continue to make that sound. So now you have that hum, but the tongue is kind of pushed forward in the mouth. We're starting to slowly draw the sound, the energy to the back of the throat. So to start that process, tilt the chin down like you're looking at something on the floor. And you can place your hand on your throat. Again, let's make that hum sound. When we push the tongue forward in the mouth, it brings the energy forward in the mind, which stimulates that thinking process, which is what we are trying to calm and still. So we're going to draw the tongue to the back of the throat to draw that energy back in the mind and back into the back portion of the brain, according to yoga. So again, chin is tilted down. You can draw the head back, which creates a kind of lock in the throat, as long as you don't have a neck injury. If you have neck injuries, throat injuries, it's going to be really uncomfortable. Even jaw stuff, that's going to be uncomfortable, and it'll be just enough to tilt the chin down. So let's try it now. Back of the tongue to the back of the throat. Same placement in the mouth as when you gargle. And you'll notice it takes on the sound of like a hive of bees. And it's most important as you do this practice that you be your own bee. So you don't want to sound like me. And it doesn't matter what sound comes out. I never know how my bee's going to sound until I start it, because each day it's a little bit different. Just like each day I'm a little bit different. So let's try that again. Back of the tongue to the back of the throat. Take a big breath in. the goal is to go as long as you can with that exhale. When you complete, relax the throat, the mouth. Take 3 breaths, just noticing if you feel a little more attuned to the quiet that happens after we do that practice. You'll notice that the exhale gets so long that we might find ourselves in a place where we feel like we need to inhale because we're out of breath. That is natural. The more you practice, the less intense that need to inhale will become, and you will be able to practice all the way to that point where you finish the exhale. Part of the reason this works so well is that exhale is so long that it stimulates all the receptors in the lungs that send signals to the brain that say shh, shh. So this is a beautiful practice for obsessive compulsive disorder, for a frantic mind, a worried mind. It's a lot of, anecdotally, I'm speaking, and we've heard from a number of people in LifeForce Yoga who have used this with people on the autistic spectrum, that it's a really, really wonderful practice for autism because, again, it meets that kind of need to self-soothe and to go inwards, which is what we need when our nervous system is so overstimulated. I myself have used this for my migraines with really, really wonderful success at easing the intensity of a migraine. So let's just do one more round without the hands, and then I'm going to show you the mudra, and we'll try it with the mudra. And when we try it with the mudra, we'll do 12 rounds. So take a deep breath in. Let it go. Another big breath in. Draw the back of the tongue to the back of the throat and go as long as you can. When you finish, soften, relax. You may notice a stillness in the breath, a stillness in the mind. I'll introduce you to the mudra, Shanmukhi mudra. We'll practice it once with that. And then when we go to do our 12 rounds, you'll either practice with the mudra or without the mudra, whatever works for you. So I'm going to lead it with my right hand, leaving my left hand off my face so that you can see. So you make sure you've washed your hands before you do this. And then we add the left hand. So your thumb is going to find the tragus, which is this kind of flappy piece of cartilage here. The thumb will rest on the tragus. When it comes time to do the practice, you are actually pressing the tragus into the ear canal to seal off the ear canal. If you have a piercing there or you don't really have much of a tragus, you can take the earlobe and fold it up into the ear. If that also doesn't work, you simply can bring the thumb and close off the opening with the thumb. The index finger lays across the eyebrow. The middle finger lays lightly across the eye. Do not press strongly on the eye, otherwise you'll have really blurry vision for a couple of minutes, which may not matter, but you just don't want to do that. Your ring finger rests right here at the edge of the nostril. Because we're doing a long exhale, the breath is coming out of the nose. You don't want to close off the nostrils because then you'll blow, your head will get really big like a cartoon. And then the pinky finger rests near the edge of the mouth. Don't worry about perfect placement of the fingers. If your hands are really wide, to get the finger to tip to touch the edge of the lip, you kind of get a claw. We don't want a claw. We want that elbow to be raised nice and long and the fingers to be open. So this is the placement of the hand. Keep your ears open as we add now the left hand. We'll tilt the chin down slightly. The way we'll do this is we'll do one breath, one B breath here, meaning I'll lead you to plug up the ears and go. When you finish, just let the hands come down and rest. So chin is tilted down, draw the back of the tongue to the back of the throat, take a deep breath in, plug up the ears and begin. Let the hands rest in the lap, attuning to any stillness that remains, that sense of quiet or sense of soothing. If you wish, feel free to leave a comment about how just that one round made you feel. If this is your first time practicing bee breath, it is normal to actually feel a little overstimulated with that, or even to feel a little more anxious, because there's a lot of work around in the mind of perfecting the practice. This is not about the perfection of the practice. This is about learning it. So if that was your first time practicing this, it's okay if you feel a little after the practice. It does feel really loud inside the head. If that was the case for you and that loudness inside the head was too much, then just take the thumbs off of the ears and that will lessen the intensity of the sound inside, slowly playing with closing off the ears until you feel comfortable with closing off the ears. So we're going to do our 12 rounds. I will start us off on the first round, and then you'll go on your own. And if you wish, you can be counting. If counting doesn't work for you, then you can just unplug the ear and listen for a moment. If you still hear me going, we're still going, and you can go right back into it. If you hear me not going or not inhaling, then or you hear me inhaling and or none of those things happening, then just let the hands rest in the lap and wait for further directions. You might find yourself slipping into a meditative state. Feel free to slip into that meditative state. So again, let's bring the hands up into position. Thumbs find the ears. If you're practicing with a little kid, you can just do the thumbs at the ears like this, closing the eyes and humming. If you want more options, you can check out further options in my book, Awakening Your Inner Radiance with LifeForce Yoga. So thumbs find the ears, index fingers rest right over the brow point, middle fingers rest lightly on the eyes, ring fingers at the edges of the nostrils, pinky fingers near the edges of the lips. Let the spine come up nice and tall. Draw the back of the tongue to the back of the throat as you tilt the chin down. Take a big breath in, plug up the ears, and begin. Let the hands rest. The arms rest. The shoulders rest. Allow yourself to bask in the experience of stillness, of quiet, of your inner radiant self. And we'll just sit for a couple of minutes. You may feel as though you could have sat for a lot longer, or that you may wish to sit for longer. Maybe you're feeling more blissful, more at ease. When you come around, feel free to leave me a comment. Leave us a comment with how this practice landed for you. I'd love to hear how you feel after this practice. Please have a wonderful rest of your day. And if you wish to come back and do the practice of 12 rounds with me in the future, we start at about the 11-minute mark. Thank you, and have a blessed day.